Hi everyone.
Thanks.
So it's very interesting placement for the keynote and the presentation, especially after a panel on sustainability. Thank you for the previous panelists for this amazing way to address sustainability in data centers. So I would like to speak about sustainability in a little bit of a different way. What is everyone doing on sustainability in data centers today? We're seeing a lot of efforts, a lot of people making a lot of claims on how sustainability has to be addressed inside the data center. And we're seeing a big pressure from regulators, from customers, and from a lot of players in the community to push for that sustainability. In the latest report that is already published from Uptime Intelligence back in 2024, we've seen that there is a lot of confusion over what sustainability means within the data center itself. So we're seeing efforts done on the facility and the IT side, and we're seeing efforts done on the ecosystem sustainability. But in most of the cases, those complementary efforts are being treated as siloed efforts. So we're talking about people that are reducing, for example, IT utilization without doing anything on the cooling side of it. So people are looking at driving efficiency up and reducing the direct footprint, but without doing proper measurements and without doing proper benchmarking. And when we talk about the ecosystem sustainability, some people go to offset their carbon footprint to look at the broader environmental picture within the data center itself. What should we do? We should talk about the shift in sustainability, moving from a fragmented efforts approach to a holistic view of the sustainability strategy. And this involves building a full-fledged strategy for data centers and embed that strategy within the sustainability strategy of the organization. Having that in mind, let's talk about the core side of it. What do we expect the core of that Sustainability Act to be? We have direct impacts that we need to look at. Parts of the direct impacts are reduction of energy, to take a look at the carbon footprint, make sure that it's reduced, and take a look at the water footprints that we have for the operation of the data centers. So this aspect, we address it usually in the 3 cycles of a data center build. The data center builds are usually, as everybody knows, it's from design, build, and then operation. So in the design side of it, we have to look at the siting. Where do we place our data center? Is it a site that I can expand in? Is it a site that I can drive efficiency up in? Is it a site that can help me later on to drive my sustainability efforts? Can I implement a sustainable design within that specific site? That's one aspect of it. Then we look at the efficiency of cooling and the IT optimization. So efficiency of cooling, we talk about, for example, going from conventional cooling methods, as mentioned previously in the previous panel, to new cooling technologies. We can adopt, for example, immersion cooling when it's ready. We can adopt direct on-chip cooling for the AI workloads that we have. And what about the other aspect of it? IT optimization. We always see people designing infrastructure for the future. But when you actually do a deep dive on the utilization itself, if you look at most of the servers, for example, when you take the sizing from the application side and you implement it on the server itself, you find out that you are using about 20 to 30% of the resources assigned to that application. If we challenge that calculation and actually move the IT utilization from 20% to 80% on the same server, the power consumption is affected by a 5% addition only. And that has been calculated and proven in some of the papers in Uptime Intelligence. We can share that later on if it's needed. We can go to carbon-free adoption, for example, for power. We're seeing a lot of efforts within Abu Dhabi specifically, for example, and UAE, to actually go to a cleaner and with the electricity generation that has a less carbon footprint. So one of the energy initiatives that is issued by UAE is to reach net zero for power generation by 2050. We're seeing the progress. It's being published by the government. This can be used, as again the previous panel mentioned, that to bring the data center closer to the power, or to look at on-site generation for some of those data centers. It can be via gas turbines, it can be via nuclear power. There is a multitude of options, and I think we should take a serious look at that, because people claim that sustainability is being taken care of during the design, but when you actually take the numbers and take the readings, you find out that it's not the case. Take a look at end-of-life reuse and recycling for components. As again mentioned in the previous panels, we've seen a very fast shift in IT technologies. You can use a server today. After 18 months, that server is no longer usable in your environment. What do you do with that server? Are you reusing it in a different department within the organization? Are you reusing it for a different application? Are you extracting the minerals out of it? Are you recycling it? And plus, we need to take a real look at supply chain accountability. Consolidation of shipments, in-country manufacturing, a lot of other initiatives are there. I think the outcome for this would be a lot of operational savings. We are checking the boxes for compliance, and we are enhancing the resilience of our data center. And from a compliance perspective, as again previously mentioned, there's a lot of energy directives that are being pushed towards the region. Most of the data center operators today do not have actual readings for their data centers. How much am I consuming from a power perspective? How much am I consuming from a water perspective? Having those readings is becoming more and more important. And this is where the part of, for example, third-party companies that can help you build a strategy, get those readings ready, whatever and whoever is going to come and audit you later on under any energy directive, you would be ready with the answers. What's the extension of the core? We've already addressed the core of sustainability. What can we do more? Because again, we need a futuristic look at data centers. The pace on which data centers are moving from a power perspective is massively rapid. We've heard people talking about 30 kilowatt. We've seen from our side during our design reviews 140 kilowatts per cabinet, and there's talks about reaching 600, 700 kilowatts per cabinet. How do you address that? Again, we need to take a look at the whole environmental impact from the facility itself and on the community around it. There's a lot of things in that list that might not be applicable for the region, because again, it's not a universal book. We have a lot of initiatives. For example, we can seek carbon neutrality via offsets, via energy attributes, via other things, right? So taking a look at where the power is coming from, how clean the power is, adopt a water positive project within the data center itself. I need to drain more water than I'm using. I need to reuse it somewhere else. I can go into partnerships with companies that can do things differently when it comes to water. We need to adopt a nature positive integration within ecosystems. Again, we understand in UAE there is no forests. You cannot build a data center within a forest and conserve the fauna and flora of that specific area. But there's a lot of other initiatives to look at to make sure that the data center facility itself is not impacting the environment around it. And we can do supply chain collaborations and avoid the unnecessary emissions. If I'm having in my supply chain a specific, for example, set of criteria with specific suppliers that I do not buy, for example, server X because server Y has a lower carbon footprint during manufacturing and during shipping, or they manufacture locally within the country. Again, regulators are putting the laws in place. Governments are pushing those laws. I do understand that incentivization should be there for operators, for data center owners to do those initiatives, but it is a collective responsibility. It's not the responsibility of one entity, it's the responsibility of all. What is the outcome? Again, we enhance the reputation, we have a stronger community relationship and bonding within the people around us, and we are implementing climate leadership, right? So we're leading by example. What is our view from Uptime Institute on that? Again, we need to redefine priorities. A lot of people, you go to their websites, you see sustainability, checking all the boxes, we're doing everything. These are siloed efforts. They need to be a holistic image, a holistic view that we need to look at. We need to look at tangible results. We need to lower our footprint. We need to drive a higher efficiency, and we need to have regulatory readiness. This is where we're saying that, again, implementing all of this without having values, without having figures, without having actual readings is a problem. There's gonna come a time where regulators are gonna ask you for those readings. And they're gonna ask for historical readings and what improvements have been made on those readings. Did you reduce the carbon footprint? Did you reduce your energy usage? Did you reduce your water usage? Step 2 is scale it into an ecosystem, right? Offsetting what remains, what I cannot have as I reach the lowest point that I have. I need to do more. This is using the extension. How can I offset it? How can I strengthen my brand while doing that energy initiative? To sum it up, it's not a cost-centric approach. People look at it, I need to save on my water bill, I need to save on my electricity bill. It should be a value-centric approach. It gives the brand a bigger value. And then integrating that within the processes of the company, from design to execution to operation to supply chain, will have a positive impact on the organization itself, and at the end of the day will have a very big impact on the P&L of the organization. It is a call to action at the end of the day. Data centers must demonstrate that they have measurable reductions, because the usage of power in data centers and the usage of water is very high. And it's gonna be driven higher and higher and higher. It's not gonna become lower anytime soon. So this impact has to be expanded towards all the data center owners. Some of the statistics that we have shared from our side, from Uptime Intelligence. So we've asked the question within the community itself. What role do you think the government regulators should play in improving the overall environmental sustainability of the data center sector? So we have seen a lot of people directing the efforts towards the regulators. So if there is no law, I will not do it on my own. But on the other hand, you would see some data center owners taking an initiative before the regulation and before the law to become more sustainable, right? And again, it's not an individual effort. It's not a siloed approach. It should be a holistic view of the whole thing and making sure that we are fitting well in the community. Market expectation for data center sustainability regulations. So we've asked another question. Does your organization believe its data centers will be subject to sustainability, energy efficiency related regulations that affect operations? A lot of people said yes. A lot of people said we do not expect any regulations to come. So what we can say and what we're seeing on a global level, the directives are coming. It's only a matter of time. And readiness for the sustainability is not a one-day switch, right? You don't install meters and you click a switch and you get your reading. It should be implemented via processes, via strategies that will be built within the culture of the company itself. So in order to achieve that, I'll give a very specific example. We've started an activity with an end user in Abu Dhabi. Their data center is relatively small compared to the sizes that we've seen. It's a little bit over 1 megawatt. We've been talking to them about strategy initiatives and sustainability strategy to be built specifically for their data center, for the past 9 months. And we're, I would say, a year far from the first reading that they will get. It takes time to build it. I'll wrap it up and say, yeah. So our conclusion, again, sustainability in the DC space is a long-term commitment. We have to drive continuous improvement. Every time we meet a threshold, we need to look at something better. To achieve the sustainability goals, everybody needs to work together. Regulators, governments, colo providers, ministries, authorities, everyone. And sustainability, we need to put effort to achieve it. It's not a one-day task. And again, regulators can put the guidelines, but operators and owners should make it happen. Thank you a lot. I appreciate it.